Hello and welcome back to the Squirrel Head YouTube channel, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to round up Liverpool's transfer window, basically looking at obviously who we've brought in and who we didn't bring in, basically, and also who have we let go as well. So obviously let's kick it off with the ones that we've let go so far. So totally in this one here it excludes all the loan players that we've actually let out as well. But basically we've got 14 players that have gone on to either be released or sold, including Luis Alberto, who I will never forget his little flick onto Luis Suarez once to set up a beautiful goal. That was excellent. Joe Allen, wish he'd maybe had a chance to stick around a little bit, but he was never really going to get in our midfield on a consistent basis. Usama Asaidi was a player I was excited about when we first got him a couple of years ago. Never really got the chance that he deserved, in my opinion. I think everyone that we brought in should have been given a chance, but never did. Same thing goes with Benteke. Quite not sad, but quite gutted to have seen him had to go and go on to Crystal Palace. But fair play to us, we actually did manage to get. We were shy of 0.5 million of the fee that we paid for him to get him anyway. So we've recouped most of that, but quite good to see him go because he was a good option to have as well. Sergi Canos has gone to Norwich City and he seems to be banging them in for Norwich as well. So all it should say as well is that I think most of, if not all, the players that we've sold have a buyback clause in them as well, but I'm not too clear on that, I'll be honest with you as well. Daniel Cleary gone to Birmingham. Jordan Ibe going to Bournemouth. Hasn't kicked on as of yet, and again, his progression seemed to stall with Liverpool. Did the player have the good attitude to go with the play that he was capable of? Because he was capable of good things. Sometimes he actually put in some good performances, but just kind of drifted in and out of games, really. And we've got players now that can do the type of job we were hoping he would. Most notably, obviously, in Sadio Mane as well. So he's off to Bournemouth and managed to get 15 mil for him as well. Ryan McLaughlin has gone to Oldham. Jordan Rosita gone to Rangers. Really, as I think most people did, that Liverpool fans really wanted to see Jordan Rosita come in and do good. But all I'm hearing so far is that he's doing good things over in Rangers and they like him. So we could expect maybe in a couple of years. Would he return? Possibly. But we'll just have to see how it plays out and how we do in the next couple of years as well. Jerome Sinclair, gone off to Watford. Quite gutted that he didn't get the chance that I really wanted to see him play. Maybe, again, that's another one that we can look at in a couple of years. Hopefully not with regret. Martin Skrtel, obviously off to Fenerbahce and not having the best record over there at the moment. And obviously getting sent off against England the other night, which was it just reminds you of why we actually sold him. Brad Smith off to Bournemouth as well. Same with Jordan Ibe. Undisclosed fees there as well. Kolo Toure is now at Celtic. And Sami Jezel has also been released as well. Now, the players that we brought in, now there's only 6 on here and there is one player missing. There is obviously one player missing off this list, which is Marko Grujic as well. So we brought 7 in, it's got 6 on the list. Loris Karius, very good fee, who I think that'll end up being a steal. I think that'll be a steal of a deal. Didn't mean to, yeah, anyway, never mind. So we brought him in, looking forward to seeing him in between the sticks. Could see him in this weekend. Klavan, again, came in either very, very cheap. Not sure how much it exactly was, to be honest. Something about 4 or 3.5, something like that was mentioned, but I'm not entirely clear on that one. Sadio Mane being our most expensive one this season, but I think, again, he will prove that over this season. He's not one of these that's going to be burdened by the price tag that is put on him. Alex Manninger, brought in for free as a backup goalkeeper with a lot of experience. Joel Matip, a big one, coming in on a free as well. And Jorginho Wijnaldum coming in from Newcastle with a bit of a tainted record for 25 million. But I'm hoping, after a bit of good international duty he's had this week, that he's going to come good as well. So, looking at that as well, I did manage to get a screenshot. I just popped up on my phone of something that came up on the internet. Now, this is what each team has spent. Now, if you look, Liverpool at the moment, we are down in 19th position in this table. So we spent 69.9 million and we made 84.4 million, meaning that we actually made 14.5 million profit this season, which is different. Right? I mean, exclude the year when we sold Luis Suarez. You know, normally we don't tend to make good money off our signings. And obviously, if I just go back and look at the likes of when we had Jordan Ibe taken off, having Jordan Ibe go to Bournemouth for 15 million, unbelievable. Joe Allen going to Stoke for 13 million. Luis Alberto picking up 6 mil for someone that I haven't seen a great deal of and pretty much has been on serial loan all the time that he's been with us. 2.5 million for Sergi Canos could pay off for Norwich and get them back up this season. You never know. We managed to get some really good fees for a lot of our players. And there's obviously a couple of things in the Sky Sports one that they haven't actually included of players that have gone out. But basically what this is looking at is how the teams have spent and how much they've made. It's not that important in the grand scheme of things, but I think it does look quite well at how Liverpool are going to do things. And I'm certainly not comparing us against like, oh, well, look at Man City, they've only made 5 million, but they spent 174 million. Yeah, they have the money to do it. And I'm really not criticising any teams that have done it. But if you look at the Liverpool, like what we spent, 69.9 million, you have to go all the way up to Tottenham in 6th. You have to go all the way up to Tottenham, who spent more than us, who also made a little bit less than us. You have to go all the way up there before they did. And even then, West Ham didn't spend that much this season as well. Well, this transfer window, I should say. So we would actually sit in 6th of how much we spent this season out of all those teams. In terms of what we make, now, if I'm right, we actually are 1st in the money made by quite a margin. And I'm just having a look now, just double checking. The team that made the most next to us was Southampton, ironically. Now, they would have only made 30 million this summer if it wasn't for us coming in for Sadio Mane. So, you are welcome, Southampton. But you get the picture that I'm painting, is that we are obviously going to offset what we're not in a position like a Man City or a Man United where we are going to throw cash at pretty much everything. And I'm not saying that's not what they're doing. They're in a different position to us. You've got Man City, Man United most likely are definite odds on. Same with Chelsea, definite odds on fighting for the title. You know, we're going to be looking for pushing top 4. If we can make a surprise run, that'd be amazing, of course. 2013-14. We try not to mention that one, but I mention it all the fucking time. Something like that. If we ended up doing that, then yeah, that's pretty ace. But pushing for the top 4 is pretty much our aim. Those guys need to spend that big to compete with the European clubs. That's just the way it is. That's how football is at the moment. So I think we have to sell, not necessarily sell before we buy, but at least make sure that we recoup what we've actually spent. So it actually, you know, puts us in a bit of a good position. Looking towards the likes of January, maybe if we're needing to replenish part of the squad, that we will look like we might actually have funds and stuff like that there. Now, in terms of the actual players brought in, I criticised Jorginho Wijnaldum, and I think rightly so as well. Wijnaldum will be good, I think. However, we can't expect too much from him in his away form. Anybody that, if you just watch your team, like when you're watching the Premier League, you're not missing a trick, but you're missing out on seeing like who your team could potentially bring in next season. Now, bringing someone in from a team that's been relegated, and the same will go for Tottenham as well. They'll be hoping that Sissoko comes good for their 30-odd million that they've spent for him. The same for us. Wijnaldum had a good performance against Arsenal. He did. He had a very good performance against Arsenal. Went fucking missing against Burnley. Really did go missing against Burnley, and we were warned about that. Any of us that sit and watch YouTube videos, we were warned about that by anybody. If you weren't just watching his performances, True Geordie, and I mentioned him a couple of times, but I think he's got a great YouTube channel, and every time they played away, when they played at home, he was okay, did all right. Most of his goals he scored in like 1 or 2 games. You know, I think he scored a hat-trick in 1, scored 4 goals against Norwich, that's 7, and he scored 11 in total last year. So that doesn't leave you much room of like how much he's actually going to contribute in terms of like goals and assists. So I don't know, the jury for me is still out on Wijnaldum. I'm not entirely sure how he's going to do. I really am not. Joel Matip, I think is going to be awesome. To get someone of the calibre and also of the age of Joel Matip and the experience that he's already got, absolute steal. Very good business. Very good. He's going to be the cornerstone of our defence for years to come, I believe. Him, perhaps Lovren, Sakho, if he can get back in that team, which I really hope he is. I think Sakho, that's also another big one actually of the transfer window, is Sakho staying and he's wanting to fight for his place. That's huge for me, in my opinion. That is massive, because him wanting to stay and fight for his position just shows that he does actually have a bit of commitment, and he's maybe wanting to change his attitude, whatever went wrong anyway. Alex Manninger coming in, I was a bit shocked when he came in, but I think having someone of that experience coming in, and it just makes us so much stronger. You look where we were goalkeeper-wise last season. I don't think we had Brad Jones. I don't think we did anyway. You had Danny Ward was out on loan, and I'm trying to remember who we actually had in goal. We had Mignolet, obviously, which we relied on Mignolet for so long. Now look at our goalkeeper situation. You got Loris Karius, you got Mignolet, and you got Manninger as well. You've got experience, you've got a mixture of youth and talent, and then you've got Mignolet, who, yeah. So we're looking stronger in some departments anyway. Next on the list is Mane, but I'll go over that in a minute. Klavan, again, if he's coming for nearly next to nothing at his age, people saying we've just got under the skirtle. I don't believe we have. I think the job that he did against Barcelona in the friendly that we had there, keeping them out and keeping them marshalled. Same with the Arsenal game. We may have conceded 3, but none of them were on his side, I don't believe, anyway. And it was a bit out of his control what Moreno was doing anyway. Karius looks very commanding, very relaxed, almost a bit too relaxed sometimes in the box, but that's the kind of goalkeeper that I want. Someone that doesn't look like they're going to fumble every little back pass to corner, to free kick or everything. Mignolet is just far too... He just wants to stick his hands and boots out and just hope that he gets it out far enough, and when it doesn't, Karius, I think, for me, is going to be awesome when he actually gets back in this team after his broken hand. And then obviously the big one being Sadio Mane, in that what he's done so far for us is brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant. He's an absolute dynamic player. Completely converts us. If you watch back the Burnley game when we had tons of possession and did fuck all with it, and then you go look at the Arsenal performance, the Tottenham performance, the Burnley performance, you go look at, sorry, not the Burnley performance, the Burton Albion performance in the Cup, you go look at those performances, who is at the heart of everything that we did that was effective? Sadio Mane. And he's just absolutely magnificent so far. He's won Player of the Month for Standard Chartered for Liverpool already. Like, I think he got something like 80% of the votes, and Coutinho only got 11. Something like that. That's gonna be really awesome. But speaking of Mane, and when he got injured, letting Markovic go. Now, obviously, he's not on the list below because he went out on loan, and it's just they don't actually have our loans on here or anything like that either. But letting Markovic go, I'm a big supporter of Markovic, but I'm also a supporter of the fact that for years we have suffered with no pace and no creativity. I thought the games that Markovic actually played, I think he played a part in Grujic getting his goal. Yeah, he did. He lobbed the ball to Grujic, who scored that unbelievable header past Claudio Bravo in the Barcelona friendly. Yes, it was only a friendly, but still, they all count. And I thought he can contribute very well. If you get Mane injured, he could slot in that role, maybe not as well, but you've got another outlet who's got pace, he's got good technique, does sometimes have an eye for picking out passes, sometimes an eye for goal as well. I just think it's a missed one that we shouldn't have got rid of. I really don't. That's the only gripe of the transfer window I've got, next to not getting another left back in. Now, people are going to say that, well, what about a CDM? When he comes back from injury, Emre Can can do that job. And if they want him in there, Lucas Leiva, he can come in and he can do that job. He did pretty well at it at some points last year. But CDM for me wasn't the priority, because you got Emre Can that can do that role, and he can do it quite well, marching and stomping through that midfield. Left back is just perilous for me. Yes, we've got Moreno in there, but I've always seen him as either a wing back or a winger. That's just how I see that he plays. That's how he plays. He doesn't prioritise defence, which has left us wide open far, far too many times. Milner is doing okay, but he expressly said when he got transferred to Liverpool, he transferred here because he was guaranteed to play in the midfield. That's not happening, really, and it probably won't happen now because of how stacked our midfield is. When you look at the likes of what we had before, in terms of Coutinho, Firmino, Henderson, Emre Can, You had obviously Milner in there at that point. Now we've got Marco Grujic, Wijnaldum. You've got Mane out on the wing. Coutinho's out on the wing. Lallana's in there. Who else? We've got so many different players in there that now Milner is probably most likely just going to stay at left back, which I'm okay with. But it would have been nice to have maybe go out and have a look at like a Jonas Hector, which looked like that would be a pretty good way to go. But that's the way we've gone, and this is where we are until January. I'm pretty happy with where we are. I think that we are stronger in every position aside from left back than we were last season. I think midfield, we've got way more experience, talent, a bit more youth as well, a bit more dynamism than we did last year. On the wings, yes, we're playing Coutinho there, but he does it quite well right at the moment. Sadio Mane, no question. Striking options, yes, we got rid of Benteke, but we've got Sturridge, who on his day can be an absolute dynamo. Firmino, who's playing very well when he plays up top. Origi, very, very good option up top as well. There are other people like Sadio Mane can, if need be, play through the middle, which could be something that, if they explore that, could be quite dangerous for the opposition, not for us. Midfield, we look very healthy. Henderson's coming back in off injury. The good thing about Milner is that if something does happen to someone in the midfield, he can slot straight in. Emre Can, when he comes back from injury. Lallana is playing very well at the moment. I can't complain. We've got Wijnaldum in there as well, I think I already mentioned. Defence, Joel Matip, bringing in Klavan alongside Lovren. You've got Sacco as well. Nathaniel Klein, and then Karius in goal. I am, overall, when you look at it like that, I am happier with our team where we are now to where we were last season. The one thing that we need to do, while we haven't bought massive, we haven't bought big, our biggest signing being Mane, and we're being obviously blown out the water by the likes of Pogba signing for Man United and all that sort of stuff, is we have to look at our performances against the likes of Burton Albion. I know they're not a Premier League team, but still, those guys, the first 20 minutes of the second half against Arsenal, look at those performances, and we've got to try and do that over the whole season. If we can do something similar to that, have good cup runs, maybe get into a final in the domestic cups, place quite highly in the league, it's going to be difficult. I think we can do it, but we have to perform, and I think we are going to be better at performing as a team as well. So, I mean, that's where I'm at the moment. That's how I feel. I'm pretty happy. I think there could have been improvements, but I also have to believe that there's a plan in place of why they've only brought in these sorts of players, and that perhaps the rumour is that he couldn't get the perfect left back that he wanted. Lucas Digne, I think, was one that he was looking for and got rejected on, or didn't get rejected, had already made, overtures for a move away somewhere else already. So I can understand why he's maybe not gone. If he hasn't got his primary target, that's fine. But it might be something that we need to address either in January or definitely next summer. That's my thoughts on how the team are anyway, how we are lining up. What are your thoughts? Are you happy with how Liverpool's transfer business has gone down this season? I think the main thing I'm happy with as well is that we got most of it done pretty damn quickly and a little bit more added to it a bit later on. But let me know what you think as well, because it's important to get, if we can get some sort of discussion going about how the transfer business has gone this year. I think it's been a lot better than last year, but let me know what you think in the comments below. Like the video if you like what I've been talking about today. Subscribe if you're new around here for a lot more content, gaming and football style videos. And I will catch you later. Thank you very much for watching.